EFD squad, and welcome back to the UCL review, where we're covering the last of the quarter-finals, and it was pure theatre, Joseph. I also stuck out a tweet asking for your spicy hot takes on the games. They're coming on screen now. Pop, 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 pop. We'll discuss them after the first section. But let's dive straight into Juve Real because, oh my God, what on earth happened? The footballing universe almost collapsed on Gigi Buffon's head.
I know, they came so close, didn't they, to a massive upset against Madrid. Obviously, they went 3-0 up and just lost out at the Bernabeu. Congratulations to Los Blancos, though. They secured their 8th consecutive semi-final. That's the first team in history to do that. Coming into the game, though, history was actually favouring Juventus a little bit. They have won more games at the Bernabeu than any other away side in European history. So they had it on their side, and boy, did they come so close. They would have been only the 4th team to come back from 3-goal margin in history. Obviously, Roma doing it the night before. I'm gutted. I actually wanted them to come back because they started so well.
Makes me feel a little bit sick. I reckon Saudi Arabia are going to win the World Cup now, and I'll just have to get into ice hockey or something.
I know, absolutely horrifying. But they started so well, didn't they? It was clearly a tactic from Allegri to drop the 6'3" Mandzukic straight on the head of 5'8" Danny Carvajal and say, let's just put some balls on it and see how he copes.
How did no one know this?
I know, but it was a fantastic tactic and it worked perfectly. I thought Mandzukic took both of his goals really well, particularly the second one, although it might have been a little bit of a deflection, but he became the first player in history to score a brace in the first half of a European game at the Bernabeu for an opposition side. So Mario Mandzukic playing left wing. Well done to you, sir. At half-time, it was actually the first time that Real Madrid have trailed by 2 goals in a Champions League home game in almost 20 years. 18 years ago. If you know what that game was, let us know in the comments below. And when the 3rd goal went in, I actually thought it's written in the stars. They're going to go through here. And then it happened, didn't it? It happened. The penalty happened. Was it a penalty?
Yes, but it was also inches away from being a brilliant defensive play, and I feel like Benatia had to do it, although I feel like Jim's body position was strange, surreal, waiting for the contact.
I actually don't know what Lucas Vasquez is doing.
He's frozen.
I thought he would. Why isn't he stooping to head it in? Because if he takes it on the chest, Buffon clatters him. He gets clattered from behind, slightly fortunately for him. But I thought it was a penalty as well. But Vasquez, lucky it was a penalty. He's expecting the contact. Yeah. Should we throw to a poll what the guys at home think? Do you think that was a penalty? Yes or no? Click the I button up there to decide right now.
Ultimately, you know.
Yeah.
Pointless though, because Real Madrid, another semi-final.
I know.
Ah. Anyway, Buffon subsequently went into complete meltdown, didn't he? Getting red-carded and becoming the 6th Juve player to get sent off against Real Madrid, only fueling the rumours that Chiellini was purporting last night that it was Bayern last year, and now it's us this year, and we won't be the last quarter-finalists who go out of the hands of.
Yes, I know. Moaning.
What do they call? I mean, it's UEFA Lona when it's Barcelona, isn't it?
I know. What is it?
UEFA. Yeah, anyway, I can't think of a joke. Buffon said, only someone who has a rubbish bin where the heart should be could make these kind of choices. And while I get that there's sort of like 20 years worth of angst wrapped up in this kind of post-match interview about not winning the Champions League, ultimately the decision was right. And
I don't think he would have saved the penalty anyway.
I think Del Piero probably said it best after the game. It was like, Buffon will feel differently about this in the morning. I'm sort of, I can see what he means, as in like, you know, I can understand his emotion, but he's gone a little bit too far, and that's one of his long-time pals. But yes, as a result, he also kept a clean sheet because he didn't concede the penalty, and was only the 2nd goalkeeper in UCL history to keep 50 shutouts. So, well done. Bittersweet. But Cristiano stepped up and did it again, ice cold under pressure, and I mean the best penalty you could produce in that given moment. At
100%.
Top bins, straight in the stanchion.
Incredible.
And he's now scored in all but one UCL game, since the last quarter-final. The first player ever to score 10 in a row.
It's ridiculous.
He is having the best end the best sort of last third to his career.
His rig.
And he's 33.
When he took his shirt off, he's absolutely popping muscles out that weren't there 2 years ago. I don't know where he's produced them from. He looks incredible.
I mean, I liked that he pulled down his boxers a little bit as well.
Just on top of the cock. Just rest them on top of the cock.
Showing off the V's, getting that pubic bone out. But yes, he's continued his superb form, hasn't he, in the big games and particularly against Juventus. He's now scored 10 goals in the Champions League against the old lady. That's more than I've scored in my whole Sunday League career. The most by one player against one opponent in the history of the competition.
That is insane.
In fact, like I said earlier, since the turn of the year, his form just keeps getting better and better. And now, after a dodgy start, he's pretty much odds on for another Ballon d'Or. He's ridiculous. 5-7.
It's ridiculous.
What has happened? Messi's absolutely chucked it. CR7, let's read off some numbers then before we move into the next section and discuss your hot takes. A couple of them anyway. Had loads, thank you for that. 11 games in a row Ronaldo's now scored in. 27 in his last 14. 41 in 38 now this season. And 120 and 150 Champions League appearances. Bearing in mind, I mean, his record was like okay for Man United, but it's just souping over at Real Madrid.
27 in 14 for club and country. Get out! I will not have the Champions League banded around this office willy-nilly.
Well, no, it's just
get out.
Disrespectful. I suppose props to Juventus. A couple of players impressed me in the first half. Douglas Costa completed 5 dribbles, more than the whole Real Madrid team. I think across the two ties, Isco only misplaced 1 pass out of 100. That was quite a decent stat that didn't make the script. And yeah, Mandzukic now scored 4 and 5. But I think you covered that. You impressed by any of the Juventus players? You know, that maybe we should shed a little bit more light on before we move on.
Impressed by Max Allegri. Not very much the players, but Max Allegri. I thought I think you talk about it quite a lot, but his ability to adapt his tactics to the given situation is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I quite like that lineup from the start. I thought this might do some damage, and I actually think Real Madrid, much better squad, but Juventus plugged that gap because they've got a much better manager.
Ooh, that is a spicy hot take. Now let's go to your ones.
But just before we move on into your hot takes, here's a little slice of our goal vlog for your viewing pleasure. Zach, roll that VT.
Funky Algerian boy.
Sometimes you gotta leave that city to love that city and start all over again. But it doesn't look so pretty to get your hands dirty and start all over again. You gotta leave that city to love that city or else you might get trapped. Oh, you might get trapped. Just like all of my...
Welcome back to Football Daily on the road, guys. This time we've come to football's final frontier. It's India. The beautiful game is experiencing a renaissance out here thanks to the ISL and FC Go have invited us behind the scenes and you to witness it for ourselves firsthand.
But it's not all about the football. We're also here to try the food, soak up some of the culture, and even do a bit of surfing.
Good.
Let's go.
So the link to that is in the description below. Make sure you go and check it out. Click right now. Let's get some spicy hot takes though. The first one was sent in by Braden on last night's game. Hamster, he says, Ramos could have cost Real the game. He's clearly one of the best in the world. People just slag him because he gets red cards. Thoughts?
He is one of the best in the world, but his downfall is his discipline. And he's in his late 20s now, and that shows no sign of arresting, does it? But I was surprised how much they sort of struggled without him. Rafa Varane looked a bit lost in parts of that first 45, and Vallejo stepped in his absence, and that kind of signals a bit of a lack of strength and depth at centre-back, doesn't it? Yeah. I think you actually brought this up on a Continental Club not too long ago.
Yeah.
They probably need to buy one in the summer.
I think they will. They'll dip into the transfer market in the summer.
Not really replace Pepe, have
for
they?
a centre-back. Never replace Pepe. I think they thought that Varane would be the ready-made replacement, which he has been, but you need a replacement for Varane, who's moved out of a backup position.
I suppose Nacho is injured, right? Nacho can play anywhere along that back four. But
let's get another one, though. This one was sent in by Zeki Wright. Kroos and Modric are, unfortunately, in need of replacement. #end of an era.
Oh, that is a spicy take, isn't it? I definitely think they have another couple of years in them.
100%.
At the very least.
The dinked ball by Kroos to Cristiano Ronaldo at the back post is absolutely brilliant.
And Kroos isn't as old as Modric, right?
No.
I think Modric is a couple of years on Kroos. Silly. And, you know, appreciate your elders.
And then the final one was sent in by Tawana. And he says, Chiellini is the best centre-half in the world.
Do you know what I really start to appreciate about Chiellini? How he steps out of that line and sort of tries to distribute. Bonucci got a lot of the credit for that last season, didn't he? All the seasons beforehand, because he had that long raking yard pass, was making 7 passes, long balls a game, sorry. But Chiellini has really kind of taken on that mantle and kind of has every facet to his game. But
I don't mean he's the best in the world. I think he's potentially one of the best of the last decade, but right now, best in the world, I think it's harsh. I think I'd maybe go for a Sergio Ramos or a Sami Umtiti, as we said on Continental Club last Friday.
I think maybe they're like a Ramos is a better all-round player, but in terms of pure defending now,
yeah, he's lovely.
Chiellini's an animal. Right, let's move on into Bayern versus Sevilla.
Ugh. Like Hamster said, it's time to talk about the bore fest that was Bayern Munich versus Sevilla. Nobody really cares. I didn't watch it. Hamill didn't watch it. We've caught the highlights this morning. Basically, it was 0-0, and obviously Bayern went through 2-1 on aggregate, earning an 11th Champions League semi-final. That's the second best in the competition's history, behind, of course, Real Madrid. They've now qualified for 6 of the last 7 semi-finals, but this stat next is the most impressive of the lot. They've got to the semi-finals 6 times the amount of every German side combined.
Yeah.
That is sickening, just shows their dominance in Deutschland. It also means, this result, that there will only be one Spanish side in the Champions League semi-final for the first time since 2010.
Good. Bloody show-offs.
And maybe it just shows that Sevilla weren't quite as bad as everybody said they were, you know, when they're hammering us. But you never know, you never know. Bayern, though, they are finding form at the right time. They're unbeaten in 20 games in all competitions at home, 17 wins, 3 draws, and Jupp Heynckes is buzzing, Hamster.
Yeah, but they've pretty much been in form since Jupp Heynckes returned, haven't they?
Yes.
Bloody wily old fox. And they're now on, subsequently, for another treble under Juppers, who would be the first manager to complete the feat back-to-back.
Insane, because obviously he had a break, didn't he? So.
Yeah, breakage. We were on a break. Absolute ball fest of a game, though. That's actually what is down on my notes. Thank you for that insight, Joseph. Sevilla needed to score 2 away goals in this match, but failed to have a shot on target. They did hit the bar, though, Correa with a header.
Correa.
I think that's as close as they came.
That was a great chance. I actually think he should score that. I think there's enough pace on the ball. He's got to hit the target.
Yeah, maybe, but it wasn't to be. Bayern just managed them out of the game pretty much, didn't they? Although on paper, 50% possession per side, and Sevilla did manage to have 10 shots, so it was a little bit more competitive than maybe the Germans foresaw. But, you know, when players in the stadium aren't watching the game, like Vidal, who was watching Juventus versus Real Madrid on his laptop, then, you know, it's probably not worth talking about in UCL review. So, you know, let's go straight into the end ball. Joseph, that was all for this week. Thank you for watching. We'll be back for the semi-finals. If you haven't watched our vlog, please do so. You know, we're very proud of it. And if you haven't watched Stat Wars the Champions, go and watch that. I think Kieran took on Makola in the latest episode. Football Mundial's out with Zach and McCurbs. What's on FD?
On Football Daily today, we're shooting Sunday Rise, so that doesn't go up until Sunday. Today will be a top 10, so go over and check that out. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. See you later.